Let's start with some business process definitions. Business process refers to a set of activities or tasks, often connected and automated, triggered by an event to carry out a predetermined specific organizational goal, such as a service or a product. Each activity, for example a task, included in a process is assigned to a specific member of a team or to an entire group of the business. Every business should define its processes, analyze and measure the results to ensure that the process is meeting expectations and is getting better. Usually, when a process has predefined and same steps, these activities can be visualized as a workflow. The workflow is actually the orchestrator of connected stages that can be performed in parallel or sequentially depending on specific rules or decisions. That means that every person in the company should follow the exact same steps. Let's see now how we can create simple processes and how we can monitor them. You can go to the main menu, type processes, and you can open unit all processes. Alternatively, you can go under packages, process orchestration, all processes. On the right side of the screen, you will be able to view the processes table. You can find the search functionality, advanced search functionality, the rows with all the processes that you have access to, and on the left side, of course, the filters, where you can filter based on the period, based on the state of the process, the access rights, and also the grouping of the records. You can change the categorization to group the results based on a different field that you like, for instance, per month, per year, etc. The respective results will be displayed on the right side. In order to create a new process, you can click on the plus button and you will be redirected to the full creation form. For quicker way, you can click from the Quick Add menu, Quick Add and Process. In the pop-up that will appear on the right side of the screen, you can fill in some information. You can see the star icon that indicates the mandatory fields, and some other are optional. When you have predefined your process categories, you can also use templates for quicker process creation. Now, let's create one process from scratch. You can type the title. You can define the category. The category is actually a free list where data managers can define all the categories, which is actually the process map, the category of your processes. Process category is useful for filtering purposes. You can use it in the main table of the processes for filtering. Let me choose one category. Now, the scheduling part refers to the scheduled duration of this process. Let's say that we anticipate this process to start at this date and at this hour, and it is anticipated to end, let's say, on 23rd of March at this hour. You can also specify the time zone that you like. Now, the assigned to refers to which people should collaborate and are assigned to this process. You can choose some dynamic options like the creator, creator's manager, creator's default group that is going to be fetched from the organizational chart. Also, you can have specific users as assignees. You can also type the name if you like. And also you can define roles, groups from the organizational chart, which means that everyone that belongs to this group will be able to view this process. You can also specify one group to be responsible. Again, by defining a responsible group, we are granting access to the users that belong to this group. We can specify the importance, the priority. We can also link a workflow, but we will check this later on. we can also connect an account with this particular process. For instance, if you are making a process that is related to a customer or to a vendor and so on, you can choose it from here. You can write a short description. This is a test process, and you can also attach one or multiple files from your computer. By clicking Save, this process will be stored in All Processes unit, and every information that I added in the quick add form will be visible here. If you refresh your table, your processes table, you will be able to view this new process. Now, this new process, since you have created it, you are able to apply changes by clicking on the pencil button, making any changes that you like. You can also check the administration part, where we can specify who is the administrator 1, 2, and supervisor. And you can also specify the permissions and notifications, to whom we would like to send notifications, if we would like to include more people to have access, and which people we would like to have change rights. If we leave change rights empty, anyone that belongs to the assigned to section will be able to view and edit this record, this process. Hidden actions are visible to Actions button. You can refresh, delete, print, link with, notify, duplicate, and print notes of your process. You can add comments here. Anyone that has access to this process will receive a notification to their calendar, and this comment will always be visible inside this record. On the top right of your screen, you can check the status of the process. Each process might have one of those statuses. It can be either opened, confirmed, scheduled, running, completed, cancelled, paused, or failed. You can, since you have change rights, you are able to change the date of this process. So if I like to make it running, it will populate this window, so I can choose the actual start date and time of this process. By clicking Save and refresh, I can see that the state now is running, and the field start has gotten the actual date and time that this process has started. You can toggle full screen from here, close the record if you like. Now, on the left side, we are able to view some more options. For instance, if we have a bigger complex process, we can break it into smaller sub-processes. So if you click here, you are able to create sub-processes of this process. So by clicking this plus icon, it will populate again the same quick add form as we saw before, but this time it will also have this extra field that would be pre-populated and not editable, which makes a link between the mother process and the sub process. You can create as many sub processes as you like and monitor from here the status. Let's say here day 1 and click Save. The sub process will be created, and you can check from here that the parent process is the process that we saw before, training process. You can navigate from one another by clicking here, and in the sub process we can check the sub processes tab. We can check that we have one sub process of this date and those rest information. Furthermore, if process is linked with the workflow, we can monitor from here the workflow tasks and all the steps that were created automatically. But since so far we are creating a manual process, we can create activities manually. Now, if you would like to create ad hoc tasks for this particular process that are related to this process, you can go to Related Tasks and you can click on the plus button. The quick add form for task creation will appear on the right side of the screen, and here you can create all the assignments and all the activities that are related to this process. For example, we can have prepare agenda. I would like to assign this to Ida. Let's say save, a new task is being created, so Ida will receive a task in her calendar. Let's say one more. So here you can see the list of all the pending tasks and their status. So if I complete one task of those, automatically from here I can monitor their state. Since the second task is assigned to my user, I can see here the task assignment. The task assignment will be displayed as follows. First of all, you can see the title of the task. If it is linked with a process, in the parentheses you can check the name of the process. So I can see here training process. Also, I can see the assigner, which is my user, and the assignee, which again is my user in this case. And also, if I specify the time, it will also be displayed here. Let's say that I want to complete this task. If I refresh it here, you can see that this step, perform training, has been completed. Finally, in the dashboard of each process, we are able to get real-time information such as the time spent, the task count, the task workload, and the percentage of the completion. Another way of monitoring all your active business processes, emails, and notifications and tasks is through the Workbench. You can access Workbench under Daily Utilities. If you open your Workbench, you can see several columns. On the top of your screen, you can check under Settings and choose the columns that you would like to be visible in your Workbench. You can have processes, activity stream, calendar, and tasks. So if you like to remove some option, let's say calendar, and click Save, it will only populate the 3 respective columns. Now, the first column is displaying processes. You can use the filters to find a specific process. Keep in mind that it is showing only the processes that are active, which means that they are either scheduled, running, confirmed, or opened. And of course, you have access rates. By default, they are grouped per type and category. So you can find, for instance, under General and Human Resources, the training process that we saw before. By clicking on a process, you can get a preview here on the bottom side of your screen. You can get the most important information, the actors, the dashboard that we saw before, if we have any attachment, and you can upload any attachment if you like, and of course see and make comments. You can also change the state of this process from here, and finally you can click on Open in Full View to be redirected to the respective process. If you would like to close the preview, just click on this button. In the activity stream, you can see all the notifications that are sent to you either by the system or by any other user, any other comments actually. And also, if you have configured your email account, you can also see the incoming emails. Again, by clicking on a specific record here, you will get a preview of the respective record that this notification is about or this comment is about. Finally, in tasks, you can see the tasks grouped per today, overdue, and upcoming, tasks that are assigned to you. Again, you can click on a particular task and get a preview. You can see the information, you can upload attachments, change the state, or open it in full view. In order to optimize and automate your business processes, Comidor offers a powerful workflow designer which is compliant with BPMN 2.0. You can access unit workflows either by typing workflows in the main menu or by going under App Factory, Process Automation, Workflows. Keep in mind that only designers have access to workflow designs. What you see here is actually a repository of all your business processes. You can use the search functionality to find a particular process or the advanced search functionality, the filters on the left side to find workflows that you have created on a specific period, or also the categorization, that is grouping all the workflow designs based on the department. So for instance, in finance department, we can see 4 workflow designs. By clicking on a specific workflow, we can see more information about this workflow design. At any time, you can click on the pencil button to apply changes to the basic information and the description of the process. You can choose which user or which group of people will have access and change rights of this particular workflow, and many more. On the left side, you're able to see the design, business process document that will automatically produce a formal process document that includes information about the workflow itself, the elements that are included, and the allocation. You can include risks, you can include controls that are applied to this process, policies, SPPs, KPIs. You can also check the analytics. After you run a workflow multiple times, you can come to the analytics and get richful insights. You can also create multiple versions for a workflow. You can also check user fields, field rules, forms, and the update log of this particular workflow design. You can delete, make versions, or copy the existing workflow, export it into a BPMN document, compare versions if you have multiple versions. You can also create a new workflow from scratch, or you can import a BPMN2 workflow document. Let's see now how we can create a new workflow design. When you are in Workflow Designs unit, click on the plus button and you'll be redirected to the creation form. Define the basic info, such as the title of the workflow. Define the user group from the list of the organizational chart. You can also specify the description, scope, and purpose of this process. By clicking on the 3 dots, you can see some more options, more advanced options. You can choose, for instance, which people from the organizational chart you would like to have access to this workflow design, and which people you would like to have change rights. When we say change rights, we mean that this user will be able to apply changes to the design itself. Once you click Save, the workflow is being saved and you will be redirected to the view form. Since my user has change rights, he is able to click to the design. You will be redirected to the designer. Here, the designer is compliant with BPMN 2.0. This is called Pool. On the left side, we have all the pre-built components that we will explain later on. And with drag and drop functionality, you're able to include any components from the left side to your pool. You can move them, place them wherever you want. You can make connections from one element to another. And depending on the component that you choose, it will open a respective pop-up window on the right side of the screen. For instance, for a task, I can write the title of the task. I can define by whom it is going to be assigned and to whom. There are many options for assignments, such as dynamic options, the creator, creators manager, and so on. Hard-coded users, or also groups from the organizational chart, such as leaders, excluding leaders, and the whole group. In this case, I will add creator. You can also link a form to each task in order to display fields to the end users for user input. Once I click Save, my task is being saved and I can move it and place it wherever I want. If I click, for instance, a notification, it will populate a different window on the right side with different attributes. Again, I will define the title. Let's say Notify Manager. I will specify the message. and the recipients. Again, the dynamic options as we saw before. I can make the connections, drag and drop the arrow from the start to the first element, drag and drop from the first task to the next element, which is going to be the notification. I can delete any component that I don't want to be included to my design. A confirmation pop-up will appear, and we can also copy a task. Let's edit it. Review document, and this is going to be by the creator's manager. I will click save, so my changes will be stored, and then I will make the last connections from the notification to the second task and from the second task to the end. When I'm connecting the end, I am able to change and define the target state. This refers to the state of the process when the workflow reaches this step. So it can be automatically changed to completed, cancelled, paused, failed, scheduled, or running. You can also group all the activities, all the steps into swim lanes by clicking on the plus button here. Let's divide it into the creator and the creator's manager. So I'm going to add 2 swim lanes. It's a free text, you can write whatever you want. You can edit or remove a swim lane. After you add any component that you like, any step, and make your connections and draw all the alternative paths, you are ready to run it. After you have finished the design, you're ready to run your workflow. You can go to the Quick Add menu, choose the option Process, so you can create the new instance. The access rights, as we saw before, and also you can link this particular process with the workflow. So I'm going to choose the document approval workflow, the one we have created before. By clicking Save, a new process is being stored in the unit All Processes, and it is also linked with the workflow. Since this process is linked with the workflow, we can go to tab Workflow Tasks on the left side and monitor here all the steps that have been created through the workflow automatically. We can also check the run diagram that is showing which steps and which path was followed. So at this time we can check that the workflow hasn't run yet. It needs to change the state to running, so I'm going to switch the confirm state to running, click Save, and now the process state has changed to running. And now if I refresh my record, I can see that in workflow tasks I have one counter. This means that the first step has been created. Here you can see the title, the assignee to whom it was assigned, the date that it was created, and once it is completed, we can check the date that it ended and the duration. Since this task has assigned to my user, I can check in my calendar the new task. It will display the title of the task and in the parentheses the title of the process. The user can click on it and he will be redirected to the respective task. Once I complete this task, the workflow will move on to the next step. If we go back to the process, we can see that the first task has been completed and the second one has been created, assigned to my manager, and it is still pending. We can also check the run diagram that will highlight in green the steps that have been completed and in blue the pending ones. Process administrators can also check the error log if any error has been triggered automatically by the system. Let's explain briefly the key BPMN 2.0 diagram elements and symbols. First of all, we have the basic components, such as tasks, subprocesses, emails, SMS alerts, notifications, and timers. A gateway is used to determine branching, forking, merging, and joining of paths drew by sequence flow. In Comidor, we have exclusive, inclusive, and parallel gateways. You can also include annotations to explain in detail what is the use of certain tasks or apply a description, and one or multiple ends. We have also the data components, such as the RESTful web services, in order to send API calls to third-party systems. With Comidor data, we have the ability to insert, update, and delete records in any other table. You can add scripts in your workflow design with cell commands. The cell type can be Unix, Windows Command, Windows PowerShell, and Platon script. You are able to read CSV files to import data into Comidor tables. You are able to export data into CSV file from a specific table. We can use the convert data component to convert an Excel file to a CSV format. We can include digital signatures into documents. We can produce digital documents with document creator in a Word, PDF, or Excel format. We can produce QR codes. With the table extractor, we can scan a PDF file and find all tables included and create an Excel file as a response with all those tables in different sheets. We have included several integration points with Teams, Google, Zoho projects, Freshdesk, Zoho Leads. So we can parse a big Excel file or part of it and capture values of certain cells or of a whole area. We're able to create graphs, produce SQL queries, insert, update, delete for a specific table. We have the ability to read and write message queues. Finally, we have included robotic process automation components, such as the RPA caller and receiver, which are actually bots that replicate human actions in order to send data from the workflow to a third-party system. We have AI technology to capture the sentiment of the author and determine whether the attitude is positive, negative, or neutral. We can scan documents like invoices or other PDFs and extract text using OCR technology. We have also included machine learning capabilities for classifying text and making predictions based on historic data of previous entries. There is also the RPA Selenium that can replicate repetitive manual steps in a web interface. We have the ability to recognize images, and also with a web scraper we can scrape a particular website and extract text. Make simple or more complicated workflows with our powerful workflow designer. Include as many components as you like depending on its process.